Hey, welcome to the second part of our video on connecting a bunch of dash equipment to the upfitter switches. If you haven't seen the first part of the video where we connected the upfitter switches and ran the wires from underneath the hood all the way into the passenger compartment, you should go check that out. We're going to link to that video here. Otherwise, come along for the ride where we get to put this all back together. I'm going to give you a little sneak peek here of what it looks like completely finished, and then we'll get started. Okay, so one of the things we have to do before we, you have to remind me, I got the grommets. Before I actually run the wire up underneath here, I got to make sure to get the grommets actually in and installed. I can't do it after the fact.
Check, that's on my checklist.
Okay, so here's where things get a little weird, a little worrying, a little scary. I have this brand new kit for taking all of this body panel stuff off, and I'm a little nervous, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with taking the glove box out. They said that was pretty easy, so we're going to start with that because I think I need to get back up in there for those wires. So we're going to start by...
Why don't we unplug this so that you're not fighting the wire?
Yeah. Oh, look at that, a selfie stick. Okay.
You just never know when you're going to need a good selfie stick.
Okay, so that pops out and that pops out.
Oh, how easy was that?
Oops, what was that? Oh, that was the broken piece from the GoPro.
The GoPro?
That we did on minute 1 of owning the truck.
Oh, yeah, that you did. He's blaming me, people.
So that's nice. Okay, let me see this.
I think I got a pretty good shot from where I was, Matt, believe it or not.
So what we need to do is get wires somewhere up in there, and I'm not quite sure how Chad did that.
Well, first of all, he could see what he was doing because this was open.
All right, so let's tell you what, let's do that next too.
Okay.
Okay, so this pops out like that. Okay. And then I think that this I'm not sure what is down in there. Can you?
I think it's just the things that hold that, Matt. I think it's the things that keep the rubber tray from moving. Holy Jesus, look at the, show me the back of that. No wonder it wouldn't just come up.
Yeah. So, okay.
Okay.
So in order to do this, this is down in. I took this kit and I put some tape around here to saw something that said about prying, and then I started in back and just kind of pried it up here and around and eventually got this out. All right, now I can get into these two 7mm bolts and get this up and out, hopefully. Okay, the good news is that is indeed a 7mm bolt. This would kind of pop out, right?
I thought they said on this one you had to pry it up from the back and get your fingers underneath it.
Okay. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, it doesn't help when his wife jerks when it pops, does it? Did we buy the wrong toolkit, maybe?
I don't know.
Oh,
There we go.
woohoo! There's still some hooked on the front just to get you up.
Yeah.
Oh, be careful of the speaker wire.
Yeah. So despite everyone saying to remove the clip, I can't figure out how to actually get this clip off. It looks like there's some sort of release here, but I don't want to pull any wires, and I don't think in order to do what I need to do, I gotta do it. So
I don't think we need to do it. Oh, you know why they're telling you to do it, though? When we go to put the BuiltRight in, you can take the tray completely out of the truck when you're drilling.
oh, the key is that I wanted to put a big unit up in here that had some expansion ports, some USB cables, and some things like that. I don't think that's going to work because this isn't deep enough. The other thing is that what's worrying me is that I don't see how to get. I think I can run some of my cords up through here, but I don't really see, given that this is the front, right, or this is the mounting point, each of these holes here are clips, so I don't really have any way of running cable up in here other than running the individual cords through the speaker hole there.
Couldn't we drill a grommet hole into the plastic and put one of your new grommets in it?
I could.
Which would keep it clean looking.
Mm-hmm. What I think I need to do then is, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my cords up in here, and I'm going to run from my marine grade cord to smaller gauge, and I'm going to do the connections down in here, and then I'm going to feed those cords up into this spot here and run it up through the center so that they come into the tray. Okay, we need to figure that out next.
Okay. He had his out on pretty hot. Do you want me to? You go get a Band-Aid. I will watch JD.
Okay. So here's what we've done. Down under here is that hole that you saw down below. And I've run the cable down and I brought it to here, the edge, and I pulled the carpet out from below this piece here. And I got the cable, and the cable's running right here, and it came up through this back piece back there. You can see that running. And if I can't do that, so I'm running it up behind this wall, behind the kick plate, up the back, through there. Before I fish this, I'm going to have to get it back behind this, but I want the cable running behind this wiring harness and behind that, and then I'm going to run that fish all the way up to there. So that's the next step. I got to redo this fish, and I'll get that run up. Okay, so the first project for today is I'm going to install this hardware kit so that I don't have this really nasty, very long cord just kind of running through the passenger compartment. So what I'm going to do is we're going to take and run it through this seam here and then pull this handle off, and supposedly that should happen, and then I can get the wire down into here, and then we're going to take the wire down into here and then run it and terminate it with one of these wires. I got two conductors. I've got the black and green conductor in here are both 25 amp 12 volt lines, switch 1 and 2. Green is switch number 1. So we're going to tie that to this and put all of this up inside here. We'll come back with an update when I get some work done. Okay, so here's what I have so far.
Okay. It does not look as bad in here as I thought it would.
I got this up in here.
Yay.
Okay. This was kind of hairy. Getting this to pop out was non-trivial, or getting that to pop out was non-trivial.
Now you know how.
Now I know how. It got marked up a little bit.
It's okay, honey.
Okay. There is a airbag running through here.
Yeah, you have to be careful.
You have to be careful. So 10 millimeter wrench to get this out. And I managed to get it running. I have the wire running here to come down.
Yeah, you'll see about a little teeny bit, probably.
No, it should be in the plate. This is the end to that. It needed a ground. Okay. The only ground I could find, or the only metal on metal point that I could find, was all the way over here.
Okay.
But what I did is I took the myometer and I ohmed out from there to the chassis, and it's 0 ohms. Okay. So that is a valid ground. We started off trying to run some of the wires from the glove box up to behind the dash using the red fish tape, but we weren't able to get even 1 or 2 of the USB wires through. So we stopped and reversed the direction and then started trying to run the wires from behind the dash down into the glove box, and we had a little bit more luck with that. Then we used the black 10 gauge wire that I had run separately as the second guide wire and ran the last 2 wires using that. That was pretty easy, actually.
Yeah, that was probably the easier of the 2. Okay, so now we have 5 wires coming up from the glove box. Why am I going to like those?
These are pretty cool. So these are 3-way connectors, right? And basically you just stick the wire in and then you snap the lever down.
Oh, for testing.
No, that's how we make the connection. So I don't have to use wire nuts, which...
Oh, so this is, I get it. This is going to become the little plug.
That's going to become the little plug.
Okay, so that's pretty cool. And then it plugs into that thing. Can I see that?
Yeah. I actually expected those to be finished and me not have to cut, but I understand why they're done that way.
You have to cut them to get them in here?
No, so this is a fuse holder. And so what you do is you cut it and trim it so that you've got the amount of wire you want.
Oh.
And then what's going to happen is that, so I've got the...
Oh, I get it.
I have the power wire coming in here, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to split the power wire using one of these, and then I'll put an individual fuse after each one of them so that one fuse is protected to go up to here, and actually, in theory, the fuse is in that. I may not need to do that. And then in the other, it's going to come and go this direction, and I want to put a 20 amp fuse in line with what I'm sending that way, because the upfitter switch will provide 25 amps plus. I want to restrict how much current can be pulled for each of these things, because 25 amps is a lot running in here.
Okay. Yeah, I would rather not get shocked.
Yeah. And what I'm doing is this has this has a mode where it can run even when the ignition is off.
Cam.
Oh, sorry. The dash cam, these wires,
Yeah.
can run in a mode where they have one power. They have one that connects to the battery and one that connects to the switched ignition power. And I actually had to set a dip switch on the box on how low I wanted the battery to go before it cut out, before it stopped drawing battery power. I don't care about running this at after hours. I only want it switched ignition. So I'm shorting
Those two
the
together,
two powers together.
which they told you to do if you didn't care? Or you just know?
Yeah, some random internet postings told me it was okay.
Okay, we learned that on Google Foo.
Okay. Now, if you wish, if you push switch 1, it should not come on.
It did.
Oh, that did. That
Yeah,
didn't.
that did not.
Okay, turn that off. Step on the gas, turn on your power switch. Now hit switch 1. Try switch 2. Oops.
Whoops.
Green must be switch 2.
Green is switch 2. That's okay. That can be switch 2. Can I?
And you can pull that and it turns it off.
Or it took that long for it to boot off of switch 1 because it didn't turn it off.
It has a capacitor that'll keep it running for a little bit afterwards. Okay, go ahead and pull switch 1.
It's switch 1.
It is switch 1. It just took that long to go. Okay, I was right. Green
Okay,
is switch
so
1.
let's see. Switch 1. There we go. Now we have power. That takes a little while to boot up.
It does.
Okay, but it goes off pretty quickly.
Yep.
Cool. I'm going to turn switch 1 back off again.
Okie dokie.
Okay, so that seems to be working.
That seems to be working. So what I need to do is I need to go ahead and cut this, trim this, get this ready to go so that I can put a fuse in line here. Then I can...
So describe to me what you mean by fuse in line.
Okay, so what I...
Do you want me to turn the car off?
Yeah, go ahead and turn that off.
Okay.
Okay, so this cord here coming up from the hood has 25 amps of circuit protection on it. It's got
Okay.
a fuse in the hood, okay?
Yeah.
So I'm getting ready to split it multiple ways. And I'm going to split one line coming here up to there. I've got another line coming that's going to go up to the dash.
Uh-huh.
So what I want to do is that I've got big 14 gauge wire and I'm going to smaller wire. So I need to protect this wire with a lower current level. So I'm going to take a fuse, I'm going to cut this and basically take this, connect it to the fuse. The fuse will be a 5 amp fuse, and then coming out of the fuse I'm going to have another one of these connectors and it will actually go to these.
Okay. So the part that I needed to know was that thing there is going to hold a fuse.
This is going to hold the fuse.
And the wire to that is going to go into the third bay of that little switchy,
Right.
make my own connector thing.
Yes.
And that fuse is going to control the mustard and ketchup wires
Yes.
that are coming up to the dash cam.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
5 amp fuse. Goes in like that.
That is way cool.
And these are the same type of fuses we have in our fuse box.
Right, so we have a bunch of extra fuses now. Do you want me to do one?
Sure, if you want. There's one.
So I'm going to split it about halfway.
Yeah, just split about halfway.
You need both sides stripped.
Both sides stripped.
And this is 14 gauge, right?
That is 14 gauge.
Okay, so I put it in the 14. Right? And turn it. And grab it and pull. And then I need a fuse.
Go ahead and turn the camera on so that people can see what you're doing.
Oh, well, I've got it right here. So I've got a fuse, got my little thing. I stripped my wire. I tend to leave more wire than Matt does. That's always been my thing. And then I take my fuse. I'm trying to make sure I got it in there. Take my fuse and I just put my fuse in here. Does it matter which way it goes in?
I don't think so.
I think I got it in all the way. I can't tell. You may have to put it in.
There you want me to.
No, I have no grip strength. It probably matters which way we put it in, and I didn't catch it.
I don't think so. I think fuses are really.
Oh.
Okay.
I just
now,
assumed I didn't get it out.
And
Right. Wind them up against so that you make them solid.
Yep.
That kind of makes them like a solid core, so it's easier to stick into stuff when you twist them on the end.
Yep. So now.
Okay, so you're down where we can't see you, so show us what you did.
Okay.
Oh, look at that. Okay, so it's still too low. Okay. All right, so we have the little fuse holders that we just wired. They're wired into the little connectors that are coming up from inside. This white cable is the cable that's coming up from the engine compartment and is inside the thing. Now, are we leaving all this cable back in there?
I'm making sure everything works.
Okay, so we're going to be rewiring this because we have 8 feet of,
Yeah.
maybe 3 feet more cable than what we need.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Does that make a water type one?
Okay, so this is actually, the label on this is actually AWG 12 to 24.
Uh-huh.
So that means that these really tiny little cables that I was worried about how to connect
We'll connect in there too.
will connect in there too.
Cool.
Now, here's my other problem. My other problem is that needs to go to ground.
Hold on. The black one?
The black one needs to go to ground, and I don't have a ground anywhere in this thing.
Well, other than the one that you already found, and couldn't you splice that into the other ground cable?
I could. You know what?
The problem with that cable and where it's ground is it's ground halfway behind the radio.
Right.
He found a ground. He made sure it was grounded, right? So we know that that's a ground wire, so we can actually put a splice in to ground them all together.
Right. So here's the problem. In this entire thing, everything is plastic.
Right. Well, it makes sense.
So I need a metal that goes to the frame that goes to the battery. And the only place I found was way back in there. But you're right, I can take this and use one of these and cut this and connect this into that.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and do that.
Okay.
Okay, so before we turn this thing on, let's go ahead and double check our wires here, just thinking about that.
Okay, let's do it one more time.
Okay, so I've got switch 1 coming in, and it's split into 2 fuses. I have a 5 amp fuse in this, and this is going to the Viofo, okay? I have a 20 amp fuse here, and that power cord is coming, and it is going to the GPS wire, which has its own 5 amp fuse on it.
Okay. So it has a tube fuse.
It has a tube fuse on it, which is good because I was a little worried about that sharing 20 amp.
Is it slow blow or fast blow?
No idea.
So we would probably want to keep an extra one of those on hand.
Absolutely. And then I've got one spot left here, which is going to then go to the cigarette to USB. Okay,
Yeah.
and I've got a ground wire here that is. Oh wait, that's what I did wrong.
You need that in there too, right?
I need that in there too.
Well, that's important.
I thought that there was another connection I needed.
I was going to ask you about that before you got going. I saw the wire hanging there, going, that is no longer connected. Sorry.
Getting all of these short and running in here is going to be a major task.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's good now. So let's go ahead and turn this beast on. Okay.
Okay.
Switch one.
I'm trying to get up far enough I can see it. Oop, is that it right there? Where's my finger? There's my finger. We're going to do switch one, which does light up. Okay. And he's plugging in the GPS. And it booted.
And it says it's charging.
So it's charging, and the dashboard dash cam just started up too.
Yep. So that's all the connections, or most of the connections. Eventually what will end up happening is that this big long beast will get cut down once I know how much I need. I certainly am not going to need all of that. We'll run the 4 USBs hopefully up in here.
Okay, we can't see where you're pointing.
I'm hoping to run the 4 USBs up here, and I'm hoping to attach my converter boxes and everything in these holes and spaces back here. So
that the glove compartment still closes.
So that the glove box closes, for sure.
Hi, today we're going to be installing our BuiltRight Industries dash mount. And we obviously ordered this from BuiltRight. It comes with the grid that goes on the top. This is actually an extra support that we decided to buy that goes underneath the tray, and then this piece of black metal is going to be screwed down onto the surface of the tray. This is the center console tray that is out of our dash that we took out a couple parts ago. And so the first thing that we're going to need to do is this is going to actually install underneath the tray to give it extra support, that piece of metal. This piece of metal, it's important to get the indent over here on the speaker side on the right. So like this, so that it all lines up correctly, so it all lines up correctly. And this is where your wires are going to come up between that and the cover for your speaker. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is drill holes in our new piece of plastic for the truck so that we can install the base for the mount.
Okay, so based on the video from BuiltRight, I'm going to try and follow their instructions. You can see that this can only go in one direction here. You can't flip it around; it doesn't fit, and it goes left to right. And that's pretty much if it fits in, it's good. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to mark the center points with my so that I can see where they're at. Okay.
Oh, that is the right place. I scared him for no reason. Oops. And then the last thing we need to do is this one before
Right.
and that needs to be a big screw, right?
Yeah, it needs to be a big hole. So what we want to do is we want about there, you said?
Yeah, I think we want it, here, let me put my finger on it, like right there. Now flip the whole thing with my finger on it. We want it to go in there somewhere. Okay. I'm trying to get the gimbal back down. So we think we want to go over here. We're just going to do this, and it's going to be a really big hole that we're screwing.
think I'm going to have to go.
You may need to pilot in with a smaller, as close that you can get to that probably. I don't know that yeah, like there. I don't think you can do it wrong, Matt, as long as it comes out the other side. But it may be easier if you do a pilot hole with a smaller bit and then do, right? I'll put my fingers over here to try to keep them out of the way. I'm just putting pressure down to help them a little bit. Okay. Let's flip it over. Oh, that looks nice.
Yeah.
And then he's going to come through this way so that this is the finished edge. Okay. Whoa, that went fast.
That did go fast.
Surprised us both.
I think I need to put 2 in.
Well, you don't need more than one hole, though, yeah. So we're using Allen wrench on the front and a baby socket on the back.
3/8 inch. There we go.
And there we go. So now it needs to be put up front. So I'll take this. You grab the rest of the stuff you need.
Okay. Well.
I don't think we're getting very good pictures.
Yeah.
Okay. We may be going out and making a bigger hole.
So when we picked the place to drill the hole originally, we ended up getting really lucky because we didn't look at where the metal plate on the back of the plastic was going to be. And you see that we just barely missed where that metal reinforcement plate is. The problem is we didn't quite miss it by quite enough. And so the metal was blocking the right angle USB power connector. And we spent, well, way too much time messing around. Eventually, we ended up shaving it down enough and moving the metal enough out of the way that we could get the right angle connector through. But if you do this, make sure that you actually put the metal plate on before you figure out where you're going to drill your hole. Once we got the first cord through, we were able to then run the 2 USB-A and USB-Cs up as well. At this point then, we were able to go ahead and tighten down the metal bracket and start reinstalling the support plate and everything into the dash. So then the last thing to do is coil up all the extra cable in the cavity below and get the metal bracket attached, and then go ahead and connect the plastic carrying case back into the dash and put the whole thing back together again. We're almost done. This is wire harness tape.
Right.
And it's meant to go underneath the hoods, but it's electric.
Did that help?
Yeah. So I'm going to see about, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wire all of these together so that they can't move.
And those are the ends of the USB cables.
Mm-hmm. So that if I'm pushing and pulling on them in here,
they stay plugged in.
They stay plugged in. Okay, so you can see we got this all cleaned up. We're about to put the glove box back in and make sure that it all works. So let's see if we can't do that. Okay, so here's the finished project. We have one wire run for the GPS mount, and then the other USB-C is currently hooked up to my phone, but eventually that will be hooked up to the GoPro. I'm still waiting for some parts to come in for that mounting, but you can see the GPS mounts quite nicely to the dash without blocking too much of the view. So we're looking forward to having this and using it on our first trip to go pick up the RV in a couple weeks. Hey, thanks for watching the second of our two-part videos on doing upfitter switches and connecting them to a BuiltRight rack. If you didn't see the first part of the video, we'll put the link up at the end of here. Make sure you hit the subscribe button to see more of these, and if you like the in-depth instructions and what we've done, make sure you hit the like button as well. Last thing before we go, this is for entertainment purposes and is a how we did it, not a how-to. We're playing around with voltages and currents in here, and you could get hurt, you could damage your system. So if you have any questions, do your own research and make sure that you understand what you're doing before you do it. Finally, I'm sure that I made lots of mistakes. Please tell me what I did wrong down in the comments. I promise I'll try and mansplain myself as to why I did what I did. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.